Hello and welcome to this week's edition of The Mediator. I'm your host, Brian West, here to give you your top 8 comedy stories that made it throughout the week. Now let me remind you that the stories are real, but the jokes are on me. They're on the house, only made to entertain. None of the content in this segment is made to offend or hurt anyone, only made to inform and entertain. Now let's get to the top 8 stories that made it into The Mediator this week. Story number 1. What does North Korea want? This is the question on a lot of people's minds right now. Now, after continuous threats about claims of having nuclear weapons, the world wants and may need to know what it is that North Korea wants or whom they may be working for. Yes, satellite images of the rogue country have spotted ships from countries like China and possibly Russia supplying North Korea with oil. So there's something going on in North Korea. Now, if the country is using bully tactics, which they have been known to do to muscle its way to a global power, they have caught a lot of people's attention. Now, spectators can't help but wonder what fine print is really behind the rogue nation. Now, media outlets have reported that Kim Jong-un, the leader of the country, has issued threats claiming that he has a button on his desk capable of launching a nuclear missile or nuclear weapon. Now, he's also stated that he may send delegates to the Winter Olympics. So the question now is on everybody's mind is how long will these bully tactics continue to be allowed to go on? The country has fired missiles. I repeat, they have fired missiles at other countries repeatedly, and nobody has done anything yet. I mean, they've knowingly fired missiles at other countries in their direction. They may not have hit the targets yet, but they've fired the missiles, and they have also violated just been violating the citizens of the country. So they don't seem to have a stable purpose for human rights within their own country because of women having knowingly, they have reportedly saying that they've had to kill their babies because of radiation in the air because of the nuclear testing that has been going on. So this continues to be a mess. They've knowingly fired missiles. Now, sources say that the Trump administration will be using its Twitter account as the United States first-line weapon in defense. So basically, we better hold our breath because if nobody continues to do nothing, Twitter can only do so much. Story number 2, cursing baby doll. An England mom is very concerned after she bought her 2-year-old daughter a doll that apparently called her the B word. Now, the report states that the woman bought the doll for her daughter for Christmas, 2-year-old daughter. Now, she bought it for a little under $20 on a UK Toys R Us website. Zap Creation, the company that manufactures the doll, responded by saying that the doll's baby babble sounds by no means were intended to offend anyone. Now, there is no word on what the 2-year-old's first words were when the doll was taken away, or if the 2-year-old said anything at all. But sources say that after the baby doll lasting effect on the child later responded, "Mommy, I don't give a buck." Basically, she's learning the language from somewhere. "Mommy, I don't give a buck." Story number 3. Just when you thought Chucky's movies were over, there's still dolls out there that are saying words like "I don't give a buck" and calling mothers B words. Story number 3. A store butcher at a market in California helps deliver a newborn baby. Like I said, the jokes are only made to entertain. Give the mediator some credit. A report claims that after a woman went into labor at a store in California, employees grouped together to assist the woman while also helping her deliver the baby. So she went into labor at the store. And the report also says that the butcher caught the baby with his apron, I guess, after taking it off, while other employees assisted in cutting the umbilical cord with a pair of scissors. So this got real serious. The store also took donations to assist the mother and child. And this is some primetime stuff that happened around the holidays, so this is really magical. Sources say that once word got out surrounding mothers heard about the success of the birth, and I guess the employee, they heard about the employees, and they started taking notice, and I guess a flood of pregnant women came to the market trying to save money on their labor bills. I'm only joking. It's only a joke. But what if that really happened? What if all supermarkets started delivering babies? How would that change the way we all shop at the market? Story number 4. What a walk. Like I said, the stories are real, and that was an amazing story, but the jokes are only made to entertain. A lot of jokes and a lot of joy in mediation. Story number 4. What a walk. A Michigan man woke up and decided to walk 6,000 miles. Now, the report claims that the man walked from Portugal to Turkey. 26-year-old Chris Lemensky later stated that the walk humbled him and made him a better person because he not only had to seek out donations on his blog, but I guess the walk also helped him battle with depression. So he walked along 6,000 miles all the way through Portugal to Turkey. He's from, I guess he was born in California. So he just got up and decided to walk. Unbelievable story. I say the stories are real. Now, when asked how he was going to get back home, sources say the man replied, "I gotta find Bubba." Forrest Gump in there somewhere. Story number 5. The pros and cons of using Twitter. These jokes are only made to entertain, folks. After numerous accounts of people, including the president's Twitter, using Twitter on impulse. So after numerous accounts of people basically using Twitter without thinking about what they're saying, I guess concerns are now aimed at what real danger can Twitter do to a person's reputation. This is after an ESPN reporter was suspended, I guess, after tweeting about the president. Now, along with so many others getting caught in the middle of the Twitter storm, David Clark Jr. was also caught up in the storm. He is a former Milwaukee County sheriff, and he was caught in the web feud by, I guess he was basically going after what he labeled the liberal media. And he was pretty erratic. He was pretty pumped up. Now, what people may not know is that these are documented tweets that will leave historians with piles of data to learn about the U.S. culture. So centuries from now, people will look back at this generation and wonder what Twitter did and what we were tweeting and what we were doing, and everything's documented on a hard drive or server somewhere in the United States and the world. So this is going to be an amazing, if people continue to go through these tweets, and it will basically signify this type of culture that we live in. Now, in the midst of a year filled with tweets, we have no choice but to wonder if Twitter is good or bad for some people. Not all people, but some people. Now, in further research, I found out that if you tweet a video of something constructive, there's a good chance that you'll have less followers in comparison to a tweet about slaughtering reporters. There's some substance in there somewhere. You have to read between the details. The question remains is, are Americans doing more harm to themselves rather than helping themselves, I guess? So are we doing more harm to ourselves rather than helping ourselves? These are massive studies that continue to go on as the culture of insanity continues across the world. Story number 6. A bird causes big delays after flying into the cockpit of a Delta flight. Now, the flight crew of Delta Flight 1943 from Detroit to Atlanta had their hands full after a small sparrow got loose on board the flight. Now, not only did the plane have to turn around, but the long delay also affected the plans of passengers. So a sparrow flew into the cockpit. Attention flights, attendees. I'd like to apologize for the change in flight plans, but there's a bird flying in the cockpit. I want to thank you all for flying Delta. Please be seated, fasten your safety belts, and enjoy the eye is on the sparrow as we will continue the flight. We'll be making a stop in Detroit, and then we'll be in Atlanta in no time, as soon as I find a way to kill the bird. Story number 7. Why does President Trump use Twitter? This is the question, and these are the last top 2 stories that made it into the Mediator this week. The question is, why does President Trump use Twitter? Magical question. Now, there are reports circulating that President Trump uses Twitter, as he reportedly says, to help fight against fake news. So he says that he uses it in his own defense against a biased and unfair media. Pretty impressive way to respond when somebody asks you a question about the massive tweets that you've tweeted and the mass amounts of chaos that you've caused because of tweeting. Now, scientists are speculating on whether Twitter will somehow evolve into an eagle someday. Now, the data can be spellbinding. Now, what we want to figure out in the whole matter is that if Twitter can evolve and somehow send a message all over the world, we may have found a way to track the genetic coding of insanity. Are we evolving into a crazy and deranged species? That's the question on everybody's minds as we get to the top story in the Mediator. Like I said, in mediation, you'll learn some things about the past and the present and the future. And a lot of people are concerned about the future of America, the future of its citizens, and not only the future, but what Twitter is allowing us to evolve to become. Beware of your tweets, folks, in 2018. Story number 8, and the final story that made it into the Mediator this week. A sneak peek at the White House's culture. This is an interesting story. Now, there were studies that were done in this story. Now, let me get to the story. It says, now, after multiple claims of sexual harassment in 2017, some have been left to question the culture of elected officials, but see no proof that this could be the case when analyzing where or how sexual harassment occurs in Congress. So they're trying to figure out how the culture of Washington can affect not only just Washington, but a ripple effect in sexual harassment cases. This is in Congress. Now, some members of Congress say that they work so hard that they have to sleep in the White House at times. Now, with limited funding and lack of resources geared towards catering to the needs of officials, most say it's business as usual when relating to matters that are critical to serving the public. So they're basically saying nothing is going on. People are just overlooking the matter, and not only just putting them on the front street. They're basically making up things that but some people are saying this is serious business. There's actually a lot of sexual misconduct that goes on, and some people are just saying the media is just overblowing the story. If you were keeping an eye on what was going on in the news, this was after Senator Al Franken, I guess, and other members were forced out and they were pressured to resign. So many members of Congress often feel, I guess they're starting to feel, that they have little defense for themselves when it comes to the media dissecting every aspect of their lives on and off the job. So is this a new story that's developing? Is Congress, are we overlooking the matter, or is there really something going on in Washington? Not only that, but is sexual harassment really a serious problem? It's a question on everybody's minds. Are people really getting sexually harassed? Members of Congress say they're working too hard to be going through this. And they're saying that some members do sleep on the floor in their office, but it has nothing to do with sexual harassment. They're just working. Now, there is no word on whether there were any hidden buttons found to lock any doors, but sources say there's a lot of space underneath the desk. We were just taking a nap. We will be signing those bills right after we wake up. Well, thank you so much for tuning to the meat here this week. Like I said, the stories are real, but the jokes are in the house, only made to entertain. I want to thank you so much for tuning in, and if you want to show us some support, please don't forget to subscribe to our YouTube channel. And if you want to show us some more love, go to our website, www.method8inc.com. Buy something, click on something, read something, or just watch something. And please, please don't forget to go to our website and show us some love. I want to thank you so much for tuning to the Mediator this week with me, Brian West. Welcome to 2018. I wish you all the best of luck in this year. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good week, everybody.
If you need help, then dial your operator.
Have no fear, fellow citizens. The Mediator is here.